I always believed struggle built character. That was what my parents taught me.
If life feels easy, my father Richard used to say, you're doing something wrong.
I nodded every time, even when my legs shook from standing all day.
Did you get the extra shift? My mother Margaret asked one morning, not looking up from her tea.
I did, I said.
Overnight again.
Good, she replied.
Hard work never lies. I smiled because that was what a good daughter did. I worked 2 jobs, one at a cafe and one at a warehouse. When my coworkers complained, I stayed quiet. When my body begged for rest, I ignored it. Why don't you ever say no?
Lily, my coworker, asked me once.
I don't need to, I told her. I'm strong. At home, my parents praised strength like it was love.
You're different, my father told me.
You don't depend on anyone.
I learned from you, I said, proud.
My younger brother Ethan never needed to learn that lesson. He slept late, laughed loudly, and asked for money without fear. Dad, can you help me with my car payment?
Ethan said one night. Of course, my father replied instantly. I watched quietly. Later, I cleared my throat. I'm short on rent this month. My mother sighed. You'll figure it out.
Life doesn't hand you anything.
I know, I said quickly.
I didn't mean. Struggle builds character, my father finished for her. I repeated those words in my head like a prayer.
At work, my manager asked if I could cover another shift.
I already worked 12 hours, I said, then stopped. But yes,
I can. Are you sure? He asked. I'm sure, I replied. That night, my hands shook as I carried boxes. My stomach hurt, but I ignored it. I thought about my parents' proud smiles.
You look pale, Lily whispered.
I'm fine, I said.
I just need coffee.
Coffee won't fix this, she said softly.
It fixes everything, I joked, forcing a laugh. When I finally got home, my mother glanced at the clock. You're late.
There was extra work, I said. That's good, she replied.
You're building a future. What kind of future?
I asked without thinking. The right one, my father said firmly. The kind you earn. I nodded, even though my vision blurred. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe the exhaustion meant something.
When my father called me strong, my chest warmed, even though my head spun.
Before sleeping, my phone buzzed. A message from my manager. Another overnight shift opened up. I stared at the screen. My body screamed no. My heart whispered yes. I'll take it, I typed. I closed my eyes and imagined my parents smiling.
I thought if I proved myself just a little more, they would finally see me. I didn't know then that I was already breaking. As I set my alarm, my legs cramped and my chest felt tight. I ignored it. You can rest later, I told myself. This is what strong people do. In the dark room, I whispered my parents' words again and again, like armor.
I believed hard work would save me. I believed love waited at the finish line. I never questioned who decided where that finish line truly was. I woke up before sunrise because alarms felt like enemies. My body hurt before I even moved. You're late again, my manager said as I tied my apron. I stayed for overtime, I replied.
Unpaid?
Lily asked quietly. It's fine, I said. It's never fine, she snapped, lowering her voice. During break, Lily leaned close. You're shaking. I just need water, I said. No, you need rest, she replied.
Why don't your parents help you?
I laughed without humor.
They are teaching me independence.
By working you to death, she asked.
They care, I insisted. They just believe struggle makes you strong.
She stared at me.
Strength shouldn't hurt like this.
It doesn't hurt, I lied.
I'm just tired.
At home that night, I dropped my bag and heard laughter from the kitchen.
My father said, the market's been good to us.
My mother laughed.
We should buy another property.
I froze in the hallway, listening.
Ethan said, can I get money for a trip?
Of course, my mother replied.
Use the card.
I stepped forward. I'm short on rent this month. Silence fell. My father frowned.
You'll manage.
It's only temporary, I said quickly. Hardship builds strength, my mother replied.
We raised you better than handouts.
Ethan avoided my eyes, suddenly busy with his phone.
In my room, I sat on the bed and stared at the wall. If they loved me, why did love feel earned? Why did Ethan get safety while I got lessons? Don't be dramatic, I told myself. This is normal.
Still, my chest felt tight.
The next shift blurred together. Boxes, numbers, noise. Sit down, Lily whispered. I can't, I said.
You're pale, she warned.
I'm fine. The room tilted anyway.
My knees buckled.
Hey, she said, grabbing my arm. I'm okay, I whispered, gripping the counter. Please don't tell anyone.
She looked scared.
You need help.
I need this job, I said.
I need to prove I can handle it.
She nodded slowly.
I straightened up, forced a smile, and went back to work. My head pounded, my hands shook, and my vision blurred, but I kept moving. I told myself pain was temporary.
I told myself my parents were right.
I told myself love waited at the end of endurance. When the shift finally ended, I leaned against the wall, dizzy, and breathed through the darkness closing in. Then I wiped my face, stood up straight, and walked out like nothing had happened.
I don't remember falling. I remember Lily shouting my name. Sit down, she said.
You're white as paper.
I tried to laugh.
I'm fine, I told her.
The floor rushed up anyway.
When I opened my eyes, bright lights burned them.
Can you hear me? A man asked.
Yes, I whispered. I'm Dr. Aaron Blake, he said. You collapsed from exhaustion.
I just need rest, I replied.
You need food, he said.
And sleep.
You're malnourished. Lily stood beside the bed.
I told her, she said softly.
I kept telling her.
I avoided her eyes.
I'm sorry.
You scared me, she replied.
I called your parents.
My chest tightened.
They are busy.
They should still come, she said.
When my parents arrived, my mother's face was calm.
My father checked his watch.
So, he said, what happened?
She fainted. Lily snapped.
That happens, my father replied.
Dr. Blake frowned. This isn't normal, he said.
She's been overworking and undereating.
Life is demanding, my mother said.
She'll recover.
I stared at the ceiling. I collapsed, I said quietly. You'll stand again, my father replied. This is part of life. Lily stepped back. Part of life, she repeated.
Yes, my mother said. Struggle builds strength.
Something inside me shifted.
I wanted to scream.
I wanted them to ask how I felt.
Instead, they talked about schedules. She shouldn't miss work, my father said. She needs rest, the doctor replied firmly.
She'll rest later, my mother said. I felt invisible.
Like furniture.
Like a problem to manage. Lily squeezed my hand.
You don't deserve this, she whispered.
It's fine, I said automatically. Then I stopped. It wasn't fine.
I'd been surviving, not living.
I saw it clearly for the first time.
After they left, I closed my eyes. My body felt heavy.
My thoughts felt loud. I heard voices outside the curtain. Did you see their car? A nurse whispered. Luxury model, another replied.
Must be nice.
My eyes opened.
Expensive car?
My parents always said money was tight. Confusion spread through me like cold water. Why did they drive something like that?
Why did they refuse me rent money? My heart pounded, not from weakness, but from questions. I stared at the ceiling again, unable to rest. For the first time, I wondered if the lessons I trusted were lies, and if the pain I carried was never meant to be mine. I went home alone.
My body still felt weak, but my mind wouldn't rest. Just clean, I told myself.
Don't think. I wiped shelves, folded laundry, and tried to ignore the questions pounding in my head. When I opened the study drawer to put things away, a folder slid out. What is this?
I whispered. Bank statements. Property deeds. Investment reports.
I stared at the numbers, my hands shaking.
This isn't real, I said. Then I read more.
Another account.
Another property. Savings I couldn't imagine. My chest tightened. They were wealthy. Not comfortable.
Wealthy. No, I whispered. This can't be right.
Their voices echoed in my head.
Life doesn't hand you anything. Hardship builds strength.
Figure it out yourself.
I remembered skipped meals, aching nights, hospital lights.
My vision blurred.
You let me break, I said softly.
The front door opened.
What are you doing? My mother asked. I turned, holding the papers. Explain this.
My father froze. Where did you get that? In your locked drawer, I replied.
Why do you have all this?
My mother sighed. Put those down.
No, I said.
Answer me. They exchanged a look. My father spoke first.
It was a test. A test. I repeated. We wanted to see if you could survive without privilege, my mother said. Survive.
My voice shook.
I collapsed.
You recovered, my father replied.
I almost didn't, I said. I was malnourished.
Strength matters more than comfort, my mother said calmly.
I laughed, sharp and broken. So my health didn't matter. You needed to learn resilience, my father said.
I needed help, I replied.
I needed parents.
Silence filled the room.
My mother crossed her arms. You're too emotional.
I was in a hospital bed, I said.
You checked your watch.
My father frowned.
Don't exaggerate.
I lived it, I said. Every night.
Every shift.
You should be grateful, my mother said.
This made you strong.
It made me empty, I replied.
Ethan stepped into the doorway. What's going on?
They tested me, I said.
While you were protected. He looked confused. I didn't know.
That doesn't change anything, I said. My father's voice hardened.
You're overreacting.
No, I said quietly.
I'm finally reacting.
I placed the papers on the table. Keep your money, I said.
Keep your lessons.
Where will you go? My mother asked. Somewhere I'm not an experiment, I replied. I grabbed my bag. My hands shook, but my feet moved. At the door, I paused.
You didn't make me strong, I said.
You broke me. No one stopped me.
I stepped outside, my heart shattered and burning at once. The air felt cold, but honest.
For the first time, I didn't know where I was going. I only knew I couldn't stay. I slept on Lily's couch the first night.
The ceiling felt closer than usual. You don't have to explain, Lily said softly.
I want to, I replied. My voice broke anyway.
In the morning, she handed me coffee.
You look empty, she said. I feel empty, I answered. You gave everything, she replied.
To people who kept taking.
I stared into the cup. I thought love was earned. She frowned.
Love isn't a salary.
That night, memories wouldn't leave me alone. Daniel's voice echoed in my head.
You're never here, he had said. You choose work over us.
I'm doing this for my family, I told him back then. And I'm supposed to wait, he asked. I'll slow down soon, I promised. You always say that, he replied. I never slowed down. He left quietly. No fight. Just absence. I told myself it was my fault.
Everything was always my fault. You didn't lose him because you weren't enough, Lily said when I told her.
I wasn't available, I whispered. Because you were taught to suffer, she said. Silently. Her words hit hard.
I don't know how to ask for care, I admitted.
That's not your failure, she replied.
I covered my face.
I tried so hard. I know, she said.
I skipped meals.
I know.
I collapsed.
I know.
My chest tightened. Tears came without permission. Why wasn't I worth protecting?
I cried. Lily pulled me close. You are. They just couldn't love you right. I cried until my throat hurt. It wasn't just pain. It was trust dying. Trust in parents. Trust in love. Trust in myself.
When the tears stopped, I felt lighter and hollow at once.
I don't want to beg anymore, I said quietly. You don't have to, Lily replied.
I chased approval, I said. From everyone.
You can stop, she said.
That night, I opened my laptop.
The cursor blinked on a blank page. My hands shook.
What are you doing?
Lily asked. I'm choosing myself, I replied. I typed slowly.
I hereby submit my resignation. Each word felt final. The second job had drained me, but quitting felt like betrayal. Still, I kept typing.
My breath steadied.
You sure?
Lily asked.
Yes, I said. I'm done proving I deserve care.
I hit send. The screen went still.
My heart raced, then calmed.
I leaned back and closed my eyes.
For the first time, rest didn't feel like weakness. It felt like truth that I woke up without an alarm, and panic hit me first. You're wasting time, my mind said.
Lily knocked gently. You're safe, she said.
Rest is allowed.
I met Ms. Helen Foster that afternoon. She smiled calmly. Why are you here? She asked.
I collapsed, I said.
And?
I feel guilty for resting.
Why?
Because if I stop, I'm nothing.
She leaned forward. Who taught you that?
My parents, I said. So rest equals laziness. Yes. And worth equals pain.
I swallowed.
Yes. You survived, she said. But you didn't live.
That scares me, I admitted. It should, she replied.
Now we change it.
My phone buzzed during the session.
My mother's name flashed.
I turned it face down.
Do you want to answer?
Helen asked. No, I said. Why not?
Because they'll make me feel small.
That night, Ethan showed up. He looked nervous. I didn't know, he said.
You never asked,
I replied. They never told me, he said. They never told me either, I said. I'm sorry, he whispered. I believe you, I replied.
But it still hurt.
He lowered his head.
They said you were strong.
I was breaking, I said. I see that now, he replied.
After he left, guilt tried to crawl back in.
Helen's voice echoed. Distance is not cruelty. I repeated it out loud.
Distance is not cruelty.
The next weeks were quiet. Therapy, sleep, simple meals.
Each time I rested, fear followed.
You're lazy, the old voice said. I'm healing, I answered. My parents kept calling. I didn't answer.
Not once. I felt selfish, then free. In my journal, I wrote one sentence again and again. I choose myself. When Lily asked, "Are you okay?" I surprised myself.
I'm learning, I said. For the first time, choosing myself didn't feel like rebellion. It felt like survival done right. I talked more with Helen the next day. What do you fear most? She asked.
That I'll be forgotten, I said. By who?
Everyone, I answered. You won't, she said.
You'll finally be seen. One morning, I woke rested and cried. This feels wrong, I told Lily.
It feels new, she corrected.
Ethan texted later. They are worried. They should be, I typed, then erased it. I need space, I finally sent.
I sat alone and listened to my breath. No orders.
No lectures.
Just quiet.
I'm allowed to exist, I whispered. When guilt returned, I answered it differently. I don't owe pain anymore. The words stayed.
That night, I slept without fear.
When I woke, I didn't reach for permission.
I reached for myself. I wrote those words again in my journal. Strong crossed out.
Worthy circled.
I don't need permission, I said aloud.
For the first time, the silence answered kindly.
I wasn't alone. I was here. And for once, that was enough.
I chose distance. I chose rest.
I chose myself.
The fear didn't vanish, but it no longer ruled me. I was scared, but steady. I promised myself one thing: never confuse suffering with love again. That promise felt like freedom.
I breathed in. I breathed out. I stayed. No one was testing me now. And I didn't need to pass. I was already enough. The thought scared me. Then it soothed me.
I let it stay. For once.
I didn't run. I rested. I chose myself.
Fully and finally. This choice marked the moment my life truly began, quietly, painfully, and honestly, on my own terms, at last now. I heard whispers first.
From neighbors.
The Carters' latest investment failed, one said. Their reputation, another shook their head. I froze, gripping my coffee cup. My parents' perfect world, built on control, was cracking. I didn't feel joy.
Not exactly. But the tight knot of betrayal loosened a little.
I wondered if this was karma, or just life finally balancing itself. Are you thinking about them again?
Lily asked as I sat on the couch. I can't help it, I admitted. They hurt you, she said softly.
You don't have to forgive. Healing doesn't require it. I know, I said, staring out the window. But it feels wrong not to feel something. You feel enough, she said. That's what matters. A message pinged. My father. Can we meet? Important. I ignored it. Then another. And another. My stomach twisted. I wanted to slam the phone down, but curiosity gnawed at me. Did they know their world was falling apart? Were they afraid? They want to control you again, Lily warned. I'm not a child, I said, biting my lip. But that night, I thought of every shift I'd taken, every meal I skipped, every silent tear. I thought of the hospital bed, the exhaustion, the betrayal. And now? The tables had turned. I was strong. Not the kind they praised. The kind I survived to be. The next day, my phone buzzed again. Please, my mother wrote. We need to talk. I typed a reply slowly. Why? No response. I imagined their panic when their business partner called. When their bank froze a transaction. Did they feel fear the way I had? Did their power feel fragile for once? My chest tightened. I didn't want revenge. Not really. But I didn't move to save them either. Let the consequences come. Lily found me staring at the screen. Are you going? I don't know, I whispered. I feel like the power has shifted. I don't have to run anymore. Then choose carefully, she said. I finally typed a message. I'll meet. But not for reconciliation. For closure. I pressed send. My hands shook, and my stomach churned, but I felt steady. I'm not going to beg for their love, I said aloud. No, Lily said. You don't need to. I just want the truth. And my peace. I closed my eyes. The thought of walking into that room felt heavy, but different. I wasn't afraid of being weak. I wasn't afraid of being hurt. I was afraid only of losing myself. When I opened my eyes, I whispered to no one but myself. This time, I control the terms. The phone buzzed again. I ignored it. I was ready. Not for forgiveness. Not for their pride. Just for me. And that was enough. I stepped into the cafe, my heart pounding. My parents sat at a corner table, their hands clasped tightly. You came, my father said. I did, I replied, voice steady. My mother spoke first. I'm sorry, truly. For what? I asked, leaning back. For letting me collapse? For letting me believe love was earned through pain. She swallowed. For everything. For not being there. You weren't there, I said softly. You let me work until I fainted. You left me in the hospital, like it was normal. It was never meant to hurt you, my father said, voice low. But it did, I said. Every night I cried alone. Every skipped meal. Every ache in my chest. You watched and praised it. My mother's eyes shimmered. We wanted to make you strong. I was breaking, I said. And you called it strength. Do you understand the difference? They said it was necessary, my father muttered. For your future. You destroyed my present, I said. Do you hear that? My life. My health. My trust. Gone. Silence fell. My mother's face crumpled. I didn't realize. You didn't feel it, I said. You didn't care enough to notice. You only cared about the lesson. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I just wanted the best for you. The best. I laughed bitterly. The best would have been care. Protection. Love. Not tests. My father ran a hand through his hair. I was trying to prepare you for life. I was living it. I snapped. And I almost didn't survive it. You turned me into a project, not a daughter. They looked small. Fear flickered in their eyes. I didn't soften. I didn't reach for their hands. I didn't hug. I didn't console. I just spoke my truth. I bled for your approval, I said. I gave everything to you. And I got lessons instead of love. My mother's shoulders shook. My father's jaw tightened. We didn't mean. Don't speak, I said. Just listen. I sat back, letting the weight of my words hang. I watched them try to process. Their control faltered. Their power was gone. For the first time, I wasn't the weak one. I wasn't trembling for approval. I was standing. You don't understand how much I hurt, I said quietly. I don't need your forgiveness, and I won't give it lightly. I just need you to hear me. We do, my mother whispered. You don't, I said. Not really. Not fully. But that's on you. I stood. My bag swung over my shoulder. I have nothing more to say, I told them. I am leaving, and I am not coming back to beg for your love. They tried to speak, but no words came. I walked out, hearing only the soft clink of the cafe door behind me. Outside, I breathed in deeply. The cool air filled my lungs. I felt no anger now, only clarity. Only strength. Only myself. I didn't look back. For the first time, silence was mine. And it felt unbreakable. I started my new job and noticed the difference immediately. You can leave on time today, my manager said. I will, I replied, smiling genuinely. No guilt. No panic. Lily visited after my first week. You look lighter, she said. I feel lighter, I admitted. I'm not running anymore. I spent evenings reading novels I'd abandoned. Daniel's name popped up on my phone. Hi, can we talk? I stared at the message. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. Then I typed, I'm sorry, I can't. Sent. Relief. Not sadness. No chasing ghosts, I told myself. Not anymore. Ethan came by next weekend. Hey, he said awkwardly. I want to apologize for everything I didn't know. I know, I said, letting him sit. You weren't told. But I needed distance. I understand, he said quietly. I want to rebuild, if you'll let me. I do, I replied. Slowly. We talked about small things first. Movies, music, silly stories from our childhood. No judgment. No lectures. Just laughter. I realized trust could be rebuilt, quietly, without grand gestures. One night, I cooked dinner alone and hummed. For the first time in years, I didn't feel exhausted afterward. I wasn't trying to prove anything. I wasn't proving myself to anyone. I was simply existing. Lily called during that time. You sound happy. I feel content, I said. It's strange. Quiet, but real. That's healing, she said. Not dramatic. Not flashy. Just steady. I started setting boundaries too. Emails after work went unanswered. Extra shifts were politely declined. I watched coworkers roll their eyes, and I didn't care. I was no longer a puppet to expectation. Some nights, old fears crept in. You're lazy, my inner voice whispered. I would shake my head. I'm allowed rest, I replied firmly. The guilt faded. Slowly. I even laughed freely with Ethan and Lily. No pretenses. No hiding. My apartment smelled of fresh coffee and books. My bed felt like a sanctuary. Daniel tried again after a month. Can we meet? He asked. I stared at his name. My heart didn't race. My chest didn't tighten. I typed back, I've moved on. The screen went dark. Peace settled over me. I realized healing wasn't fireworks or fanfare. It was simple acts: sleep, laugh, rest, say no, and mean it. I lay in bed one night, staring at the ceiling, feeling the soft weight of quiet strength. No one expected me to perform. No one demanded my exhaustion. I closed my eyes and breathed. For the first time, my sleep didn't carry guilt. My body, my mind, and my heart rested together. And I finally understood, building a life that doesn't hurt isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. It's quiet, steady, and fully, entirely yours. My phone buzzed. My mother's name. I stared at it. Finally, I answered. Hello. I said cautiously. Can we talk? She asked. Her voice sounded fragile. Of course, I said, taking a deep breath. When I arrived, I noticed the cracks. Not physical, just in tone, in presence. My father looked smaller somehow, anxious. We need support, he said. Not money, just guidance. I nodded slowly. Okay. I can help. You always seem so calm, my mother said. I don't know how you do it. I learned to take care of myself first, I replied. That doesn't mean I can't help. They lost an important client today, my father admitted. It's affecting everything.
I understand, I said. I can listen. I can advise. But I won't lose myself in your crisis. You sound cold, my mother said softly. Maybe, I said. Or maybe I finally see things clearly. Ethan's words returned to me. Distance is not cruelty. I let it guide my actions. I helped them organize their meetings, plan communications, and even suggested solutions. They followed my guidance, nervously, cautiously. You've grown, my father said during a brief pause. You see so clearly. I had to, I replied. I couldn't survive otherwise. I felt a twinge of guilt. Helping them stirred old instincts. Should I forgive fully? Should I care too much? But Helen's words echoed. Boundaries are strength, not weakness. I reminded myself. I can help without losing myself. You always push yourself, my mother said, her voice shaking. I see now. I see what we did to you. You did what you thought was right, I said. But I had to survive it to grow. That's the difference. A silence fell. The tension was heavy, but different. No lectures, no demands. Just acknowledgement. Their fall wasn't cruel, it was consequence. Their world shifted naturally, like tides. I helped them navigate it without carrying their weight entirely. I don't want to fail you, my father said quietly. You won't, I replied. Not because I protect you, but because you learn like I had to, through experience. My mother nodded, tears in her eyes. We underestimated you. I underestimated myself once too, I said softly. But not anymore. By the end of the evening, the power balance felt real. I wasn't the obedient, broken daughter anymore. I was a guide, a boundary setter, a witness. I helped, yes, but I didn't collapse under their expectations. As I left, my chest felt lighter. Not triumphant, not vengeful, just clear. Karma hadn't struck out of malice. It simply arrived as it always does. And this time, I was steady enough to observe it, without being dragged into the storm. I breathed in the night air. I had helped, but I had protected myself. The scales had finally evened, naturally, and quietly. For the first time, I understood. Consequences aren't punishment. They are balance. And I was no longer a part of the weight. I walked through the hospital doors, the smell of antiseptic immediately familiar. Not frightening, not oppressive. Just neutral. I stopped near the reception and remember the first time I was here. Collapsed. Weak. Invisible. This is different, I whispered to myself. I'm different. A nurse glanced at me. You okay? I am, I said, smiling. No need for explanation. No fear. I wandered to the floor where I had lain, trembling and broken. The bed was empty now. I traced my fingers along the rails lightly, feeling the memory but not the panic. I survived this, I thought. Not because someone protected me. Not because I endured silently. Because I chose myself. Strength. I repeated the word in my mind. Not endurance. Not submission. Not silent suffering. Strength was boundaries, rest, choices, and self-respect. I had finally learned that. A doctor walked by, curious. Do you want a tour? I shook my head, laughing softly. No, just remembering. He nodded, smiling politely. I sat by the window, sunlight spilling across the floor. My scars, my memories, they were mine. Proof, not shame. Proof that I had survived, rebuilt, and finally understood value. Too long, I whispered to myself. I stayed too long in fear, in pain, in obedience. I smiled. But I left. And now I forgive myself for that. I closed my eyes, remembering Lily's words, Helen's reminders, Ethan's care. And me, choosing me every single day. I am enough, I said, aloud this time. The words felt heavy, grounding, real. A nurse passed again. You okay? I'm proud, I said. She nodded, a small smile. I imagined my parents, their lessons, their tests. They shaped me, yes, but not fully. I had reclaimed my life, my health, my choices. And the truth hit me, strength without suffering is possible. You don't need collapse to prove your worth. You don't need pain to justify existence. I breathed in deeply, filling my lungs with the crisp hospital air. My chest felt open, my heart steady. I am not weak.
I am not lost. I am strong, I said. For the first time, I could see my own reflection in the hospital window. Not as a patient, not as a daughter under trials, but as myself, whole, scars and all. I smiled, a real smile, not the forced kind that once sought approval. This is strength, I whispered. Without suffering, without sacrifice to others' standards. Just me. I stood, walked toward the door, and paused. Thank you, I whispered. Not to the hospital, not to anyone. To myself. I stepped outside, sunlight warming my face. Every scar, every sleepless night, every tear, they were mine. And they had led me here. To this quiet pride, this steady heart, this unshakable self. Strength without suffering. I finally understood. And I finally felt freed as I sat by the window in my small apartment, sunlight spilling across the floor. The city hummed outside, unaware of my thoughts. I smiled, quietly. Not because life was perfect, but because it was mine. Lily knocked and entered. Morning, she said. Coffee? Yes, please, I replied. We sat in comfortable silence. For once, no lectures, no panic, no guilt. I was thinking, I said finally. About everything. Which everything? Lily asked, pouring the coffee. The collapse. My parents. The tests. All of it, I said. I realized something. I didn't pass their test. I passed my own. She tilted her head. Go on. I built a life that isn't about proving anything to anyone. I rest. I work. I laugh. I choose who I let in and who I don't. That's my test. And I passed. She smiled softly. That's powerful. I thought strength meant suffering, I continued. Enduring. Staying silent. Obeying. But it doesn't. Strength is knowing your worth. Protecting yourself. Loving yourself even when no one else will. A message popped up on my phone. Daniel. Hi. I stared at it. My heart didn't race. My chest didn't tighten. I typed, I'm okay. Thank you. Sent. No longing. No guilt. Just calm. Ethan called later. Hey, he said nervously. Hey, I replied. How are you? Better. Slowly, he said. That's good, I said. I'm glad. I'm glad we're rebuilding. I hung up and looked around the apartment. Books I'd been meaning to read. Plants I'd nurtured. Art I'd painted. Everything a quiet reminder that I created my space, my peace, my life. I thought of my parents. They remained part of my past, not my identity. Their lessons had shaped me, but they didn't define me. I forgave myself for staying too long, for trusting too blindly, for letting their standards dictate my worth. I walked to the mirror. I studied my reflection. Not flawless, not perfect, but alive, strong, whole. You're enough, I whispered aloud. Evening came. I brewed tea, sat on the balcony, and watched the sun dip behind the skyline. The cool air brushed my face, steadying my heartbeat. No one expected me to perform. No one demanded sacrifice. The world felt quiet, and I welcomed the silence. I survived my own test, I whispered to myself. Not theirs. Mine. And I passed it. I thought of every collapsed night, every tear, every ache. They were proof, not shame. Proof I could endure, recover, and thrive on my own terms. Lily came back with a book. Want to read together? She asked. Yes, I said, taking it. We read until the stars appeared. I felt the steady weight of my life beneath me, real and grounded. Peace, not pain. Choices, not obedience. Healing, not collapse. I breathed deeply. I was not defined by suffering. I was defined by surviving it and choosing myself afterward. And in that quiet moment, I realized I had won. Not by anyone's rules, but by my own. I smiled again, softly. The city continued its hum, and I sat there, fully present, fully me, fully free. I had passed a different test. And this time, I was proud.